This week's episode of the Good Dude Podcast is brought to you by Embrace Jiu Jitsu, Hidden House Coffee, and Nex Gen Peptides.
If something comes up, like I'll say something. I have no problems not, like I will say my opinion.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to the well, I'm going to say this, I'm just like, there's honestly like, there's no point because you're not going to hear what I'm trying to say.
There's no interest in learning, right?
Yeah.
There's no interest in listening.
Yeah, it's
now we
crazy.
can transfer the conversation to that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
There's this South Korean philosopher who lives in Germany, Byung-Chul Han, and he wrote a book, I might have mentioned this to you guys before, called Into the Swarm. I think if I got the name right. And he basically breaks out what the difference is between community and a movement and a swarm, right? A swarm doesn't have depth. A swarm doesn't have purpose. It's just a bunch of people coming together. And, his words are, he says the actual word is it's a crap storm.
Yeah.
Right? That's all it is.
Yeah.
And we have swarms around us now, whether those are enabled through social media and technology or anger, whatever it is, they're not sustainable. And they certainly don't lead to important transformational change.
Yeah. I also feel like we're living in a time too, though, where people don't want transformational changes. They think they do, but they don't when it comes to their because of the polarizingness of the world post-COVID. Pre-COVID, I still had like a little hope, right? Like I refer to everything now. Jordan's heard me say I refer to everything in two spheres now, which is so funny.
The flood, before the flood, and after
exactly.
the flood.
Now it's pre-COVID, post-COVID. Post-COVID, it's like we in all areas of all of our lives, you see it where it's like whether it's the instant gratification mode like creeping up, right? Like social media was obviously around pre-COVID, but then like the viralness of TikTok and dancing silly little videos and becoming famous and making crap tons of money, or to becoming a sourdough bread connoisseur, to learning new skills, learning new habits. And then fast forward to AI, and now everyone thinks that, they're an expert in all these fields. And then we've lost like this sense of like a quote unquote true identity in my opinion. And I feel as if because we live in this, the instant gratification post-COVID, I want what I want because I deserve that mentality. Like people don't want that transformational change, in my opinion. Like, at least in my daily life that I see people constantly talking about how they want this or how they want that, or why does, John Smith have all these things? Why don't I have all those things? Or, oh, this guy started a company, but he wouldn't have the company if it wasn't for me. Like, like that mentality, like the deserving a seat at the table without having to actually have ownership of the table.
Yeah, two thoughts on what you're saying, Ben. One is I find it interesting, whether it's the swarms or what you're talking about, that people have their life pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Everyone who's angry, everyone who's you're describing has an amazing ability to go to the supermarket and choose from 75 cereal selections.
Yeah.
Right? Our lives in this country is very good and very easy. And yet there's this lack of ability to appreciate who we are, what we have, and what we have in common, and live and be who we are.
Yeah.
Right? I believe that we are called human beings for a reason. We're not human doers, human doings, right? We're human beings. And if we can focus on being and understanding kind of what our purpose is and have gratitude, you guys have gratitude for different reasons, whether it's because you've had certain things that have literally, threatened your physical existence as a human being, right? And the ability to still live. Most people can wake up every day with an attitude of gratitude, and have a belief that, you know what, I'm going to do something. I'm going to be somebody today, and I'm going to do things that are consistent with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
like
think
that.
it's that and a lack of accountability. Like I heard, it just happened to pop up. It was a clip from another podcast where one this guy who's a former CIA operative, was a former special force before that, CIA operative, was interviewing another guy who was with the CIA and actually got thrown in prison because he was getting. I think it was. I'm figuring out the context of it because I didn't get to watch the whole podcast. But basically, the guy who had been thrown in prison for leaking information to Russia as a CIA agent
Dang.
was on the podcast talking to another guy who was on the special operations side of the CIA. And the guy was like, "Yeah, of course I did it." And he goes, "Well, like why?" He goes, "What is this? What has this country ever done for me?" And the guy who obviously didn't go to prison for leaking confidential information goes, "What is this? What has this country ever done for you?" He goes, "Yeah. What has the CIA? What has this country ever done for me?" He's like, "Did your kids wake up hungry this morning? Did they get to go to school? Is there police officers driving the streets outside? Is there?" And he just started listing off like names of just
Shoes on their feet.
He was like just
Yeah.
listing off all this different stuff. He goes, "Do I think America's perfect? Absolutely not. But you have to believe." We have to believe still in the American dream because I woke up this morning and my kids are safe and I'm safe and I'm alive and I have food. There's a refrigerator. I got to drive a car. Like he was like all these different things that apparently people are just forgetting about. And I'm like, yeah, I feel like in this country, and maybe I'm getting on a tangent here, is that people are forgetting like how good we actually have it, and the fact that we can turn around and argue and not want to hear other people's opinions and disagree and get so mad at each other over this like things that don't even affect them daily, is because they live somewhere that they get to do like they can argue those mob mentalities because they have the safety to do such a thing.
Yeah. Did either of you see the footage? It was on Easter Sunday of one of the astronauts on Artemis 2. He said, like, I have no prepared words, but his wish was for human beings to be able to see Earth from the perspective that he and only 3 other people were seeing it from at that moment.
Yeah.
And to have a different perspective and to look down, and he was longing for being on Earth.
That's great.
He was longing for that human connection and with gratitude toward everything that we have on this amazing planet. Yeah. And that was like this 2-minute message. It was beautiful, right? And it's that same idea. Someone else said to me recently like, that they had graduated college basically as a socialist, and then they took time off and went and traveled the world, and they came back, they were a socialist anti-American, right? American, thanks to their college education. And they come back after touring and going around the world with gratitude for what they've got here.
Yeah.
So how do we, and this is a rhetorical question because I don't know the answer, how do we create that perspective of understanding what we have and what we're grateful for without having to experience it? Like I wake up, like I remember I would, 2-story house, you back the car out of the garage and you're leaving and you realize you forgot something and you're in a hurry and you run back upstairs and then you run back down to your car, to leave. I get back down to my car and I realized I just ran up those stairs every other step. And I take a moment and I pause for gratitude that I could do that. I have my legs.
Yeah.
I've got my ability, and I didn't have to, God forbid, be disabled to have an appreciation for that. So how do we help more people be able to see what you're talking about, both of you, and have gratitude? And I think that's part of what I was trying to communicate in the book too, was this idea of how can you, in one of the exercises, create your wake-up prayer. What do you want to say when you wake up each day in the morning, right? That is your mantra. Yeah. And for me, I have 2 components to it. One is a Jewish saying that's part of what we're supposed to say when we wake up in the morning, which is just, thank you, God, for returning my soul to my body so I could live another day. Period.
Yeah.
right? And then the next is my own purposeful meaning, which is to say, you know, to create, inspire, and be a part of special moments for myself and others. Yeah. Okay, let's start my day. Yeah. Which is a heck of a lot better than starting with TikTok, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. And I think that I like that you asked that question, because we all have said it in some form, whether it's here, outside. There's that person outside is distracting me. But in some way, right, it's like, how do we, as people here, United States specifically, like get to that point of having gratitude for things that they don't have to experience, and or like the things that made me in my life give like the appreciation and gratitude that I have, because I got to see and do and be a part of stuff that wasn't so nice. And I've seen the world in areas that most will never see. And, you know.
And you physically paid a price for it.
Yeah, yeah, you know, and it's but
as
it's one of those.
As you try to sit,
I just still are.
As you just said that, I'm like, oh, my back's kind of hurting. But no, it is that is a great question. That it's like, how do you do that? How do you tell somebody here that even, and we're not knocking. I don't want people to take what we're saying the wrong way. Like, we're not knocking that there's not hardships here, that there isn't poverty, there isn't a level of not having a refrigerator. Those things do exist.
Yeah.
But our versions of those are still significantly different than a third world country poverty. Like our homeless situation here, yes, it's awful, it's sad.
It's mental illness, it's drug addiction.
Yeah, you know, but they also have a freaking shelter that they can walk to that has amenities. They also have help. They have aids. Again, I'm not
iPhones.
Yeah, they can go into 7-Eleven. Like, other parts of the world, real third world countries that poverty is the daily, they don't have the luxury of those things.
It's second world countries too. It's not just third world countries.
True. Yeah, very true.
You know, you go to countries that have 1 billion people and they've got tens of millions of people.
Yeah, it's
living like that.
I think it's, well, just like anything, nobody will ever get it perfect all the time. Like, it's unrealistic goal. But I think it's, you obtain that by having conversations like these, like what we're doing right now. And then I think having to realize that life is not just, and this is I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, is I think too many people, and we've gotten so caught up on personal development and self, which I believe is a big key and we need to do, which is why books and all these different stuff are great. But I think people need to remember it's not always all about you, and stop thinking inwardly all the time. Because like, I think I said this on another podcast the other day, and it's a moment that I'm proud of, and this sounds totally counter context because I just said don't focus on yourself, and now I'm focusing on myself. But I like finished a hard day of work and I just wanted to complain, and it just so happened that I'm working out of our room right now, so my wife came down, and then my son came down, and then my daughter came down, and they were all in there, and I finished this call, and I like threw my headphones down, and I just like sat there for a second, and then I just went, it's not about me. And then I literally was like, I have a beautiful wife sitting on the bed right now. I have 2 amazing, healthy kids. And then I just started saying things out loud. And my wife looked at me for a second like I was crazy because I didn't put any context behind it. I just started saying out loud a million things that I was grateful for in the room, including all the clutter and crap we had all over. I was like,
Marie Kondo would be so proud of you.
Yeah, I was like, I am so blessed that I am frustrated by the excess that I have sitting on my desk. And I was like, and that's making me mad that I am so blessed and I have so much excess that excess is making me mad. And I was like,
you mean I have to wash these dishes for the food that we just got to eat?
I was like, I feel so dumb. And I like finished, and my wife was just bawling. She was just crying because she had been having a tough day too, and I didn't even know because I was so locked in. And she was like, we really are blessed, aren't we? And I was like, we're so blessed.
It's amazing. I think you can draw a line though, Jordan, between like self and I.
Yes.
Self is important, but when it becomes just I, that's a different level. And that's what scares me the most about where our society is going, is it when the individual, by the way, happens to start with I as well, when the individual becomes so dominant over community. I mean, I created the 11 primal spaces in the order of that second grouping, which is about shared spaces. And I really thought about it. Even today, I was thinking about the order that they went in and how intentional it was. 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 4 is law, because you have to have a framework before you can form 5, which is community. Community can't happen without structure. Mm-hmm. And if you've got that, then you can move on to 6, which is trust, right? If you don't have laws and structure and you're not in community, then
there is no trust.
You don't need trust. But you've got to now build the trust for the community to work once you've tried to set up the community. And then the 7th is conflict. How are you going to deal with situations where there has to be a foundation of trust between people in a shared community based in laws?
Yeah.
And so none of those did I emphasize how it's all what I want. You know, even in business, I've seen enough times where people have turned and said, but that's not what I wanted to have happen. But we had a plan, folks, and we're all going to follow this plan. Now, all of a sudden, you decide you're going to do something different. Ben, if you put this in the military context, if you're going out on a mission and you've got a plan that the team is supposed to follow, and all of a sudden, either a soldier or even a leader decides he's got a better idea, or she, well, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
People die.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yet in the second section, I talk about shared spaces. It comes after the first section, which is about the individual, right? Because the individual has to, coming back to this conversation of knowing who you are and being comfortable in that. And you look at, if you've ever seen the United Nations puts out their World Happiness Report each year, and it ranks the countries based on happiness. And happiness is a misnomer. It's more along the lines of contentment. Are you satisfied on a scale of 1 to 10 with your life? Totally different question from happy.
Yeah.
Right? Are you satisfied with your life? And the 5th highest ranking country in 2024 amidst a war and having members of its population held as hostages was Israel. The 5th happiest country in the world in the middle of a war. And then amongst 20 to 30-year-olds, which make up most of the soldiers, they were ranked 3rd or 4th. Right? It just makes no sense, but it's all depends on how you look at it. I have this picture I came across about a week ago from my wife and our trip to Morocco. And we're in the Atlas Mountains off-roading.
That's cool.
It was amazing. And we run across this shepherd. With his flock of sheep and his staff, right? And he's just out there by himself. He probably has, if I'm counting top and bottom, 4 or 5 teeth, right? And a smile like the one you've got right now, Jordan. And we jump out of the truck, and we're just have a conversation getting translated, as best as possible. This guy's satisfied with his life.
Yeah.
And coming up was one of the festivals at the time, Muslim festival, where you slaughter your sheep and invite all your family and friends to have a big communal meal. Like, I bet for many of them, the definition of satisfied is that they had enough money to get the goat or the sheep and to have the meal. They're not sitting there saying, but wait, where is my, china and my crystal and my this and my that? It's just a different way to look at life.
Yeah. That perception switch is what we need a little bit more of here. I feel like if people answered honestly in America, we'd probably be towards the bottom of that report.
Yeah, I think we're
content.
20-something.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like no one's content here.
20-something. Yeah.
And it all goes back to what we said at the very beginning of the instant gratification in this world that we're living in. That it's like there's a reason why like America has coined like keeping up with the Joneses, right? Or like it's a crazy thing. But
I don't think we focus on contentment here though. Like
no,
it's
no
not,
one's ever content. It's always more.
Well,
How can
yeah,
I build
satisfied.
It's I mean, you should.
First time having a cup of coffee there, Ben?
Yeah, just twice.
It's not. I think it's the lid. This coffee shop
Where'd you get that coffee?
Dude, this place sucks.
I don't agree, but
Hidden
okay.
house.
Yeah. But yeah, I forget who said it, but it was like, if you really want to be content, like, find good friends and someone to love and raise a family if that's, and find meaningful work and pour your life into others. And I feel like that's almost the exact contradiction of what we as Americans are like taught, where it's like, no, like you need a little bit more and you need to work a little bit harder. And then, like, I heard someone say this recently, and they're like, what's everybody's default answer? Like, how you doing? Busy. And they're like
Killing
why?
it.
Yeah, man, I got so much going on. And we feel like that's a great answer to give people because we don't want to like come off as like lazy or something. And I caught myself. I was like, oh, that's my default for it. Like, I'm busy, and I am. Like, I am busy. But it's like, have you ever met the man that was like, how you doing? I'm actually great. I live a very balanced life. I'm not overly busy because I know how to value my yeses and my nos, and I know how to prioritize what's important in life. And it's like, and I was thinking about that, and I put myself in that position, and I was like, what would I say to that person when I met them and they said that back to me? To be honest, I'd be like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's the person I want to learn from and be like.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I went for tea yesterday with one of my mentors, one of my heroes, and the guy at the restaurant, hi, and asked my friend, how are you? His answer, I'm happy, thank you. I'm happy, right? And I'll usually answer it with something along the lines of between like amazing, something that catches people off, and that's something you can do, right? Just give an answer that is different from I'm okay, thanks, how are you, right? And maybe like listen to the answer from the other person, right? Care enough, and really just how are you is just an extension of hi, right? It has no other meaning. Hi, how are you? It's just really hi.
Yeah.
But to listen to people and have and then bring in empathy when you need to is huge, and it's done through asking questions and listening more than talking.
It's hard. I fall into that trap. I'm not content most of the time, and I can admit that. Like, and it's not a.
And I've known that about you, like your whole adult life.
Yeah, and it's not about
Mark. What can we do next?
And I want to be that. I want to be really clear when I say that, because it's not that I'm ungrateful. It has nothing to do with that. It's I believe that I can offer so much in so many ways that I find myself constantly being like, okay, what can I do next? And I get thrown into that a lot, where I'm like, okay, like I thought I'd be in a different place. I'm 16 years into my business. I have all these things, blah, 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 but I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have this much money in my bank. I'm here. I'm not there. I'm yada, yada, yada. So like I get put into that same thing, and I'm not, I want to be clear with that, because I think there's a difference between being content in a way of not settling, and I think there's a way to be covetous, I guess, in a way I'm trying to say, of like what you have that I don't.
So I personally don't like that concept of covetous. I think that if you're looking at what someone else might have, I would use the word aspirational.
That could be one, yeah.
Right, you have an aspiration, but it's not.
Spot.
But it's not aspiring. It's not in a scarce resource perspective, which is like, oh well, I want what is Marc's, right, as mine. It's there's this. If you put another layer of thought into that, right, let it go through your neocortex first, and say, okay, well, why am I feeling this way? Why am I having this reaction? What is it really that I am admiring or aspiring toward? Because it's not really I want Marc's car or I want his relationship or whatever it is, right? there's something about that. And if you think maybe a couple layers deeper into it to figure out what that is, and then make sure that that's really has to do with who you are.
Yeah.
Right. And I get it. I think that as I'll say this it's just in my view, a historical pressure, especially on us guys, of this feeling that we have to provide.
Yeah.
We have to provide for our family. Our spouses might be equal breadwinners. They might be more, whatever the case is. There's something, I don't know never studied this, but there's something, machismo, whatever it is, that makes us feel like we have to. Right? And that in and of itself places so much pressure on us, and I think can stop us from feeling comfortable of living the life that we have.
Yeah.
And being where we are. You know, I had this line that's so crude. I can't remember. It was an author's brother who said this. Forget the source. Irish author's brother who said, if you've got one foot in the past and one foot in the future, you pee on the present.
That's actually pretty funny.
You know?
That's actually really good.
And it's true. So how do you balance that? You know, you create goals for a company.
Yeah.
But you can't just focus on the future goals. You have to realize what'd you do today that took you a step in that direction. By the way, you might change your goals based on what you learned today.
Yeah.
Right? So how do you focus on that today while still having goals? I think of a baseball player, right? A guy's hitting $125 all season long, and he comes to the plate in the playoffs or whatever at some key moment, and he hits a game-winning home run, and he's interviewed after the game. And his teammates are interviewed after the game, and they're so focused on what he just did right then. I've never seen an interview where a player like that gets interviewed and he goes, "But man, I hit 125 all year. Look at my teammates. You know, he hit 40 home runs. This was just my second."
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that. You'd be absolutely gloating in the moment.
Yeah.
Of what you just accomplished. But what you just described, Ben, was instead taking that interview and saying, "Yeah, but I hit $125."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean by the perception shift is like, that's almost built into our DNA here as Americans, and as South Orange County specifically, like constantly having to feel like you're running this race to just live.
And yes, and against whom? Right? It's this perspective. I'll come to the professional athlete again. They have a benchmark to understand what poor, good, and great are, and Hall of Fame are, right? You know, if you hit 50 home runs a season in the major leagues for 5 years, you're an all-star and Hall of Famer. You know you're at the top of your game.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan knew he was at the top of his game. The list goes on. In business or, quote, regular life, you don't have a stat book you can open up to understand where you rank, in part because you're not competing against, I'm not competing against your coffee shop. You don't have to beat me, right?
Yeah. No, it's true. And
I don't have to sell more coffee than you.
Yeah. When we live in a time where it's like, that's what people think. And I think it's like for me, the not being content, I don't like saying it that way because I'm very content with my life. I love my family. I love my health.
Aspirational.
But I have just big goals and big dreams for myself. And so when I say I'm not content, it's because I'm not going to be satisfied unless I feel as if I've accomplished those goals. Satisfied with the goals, the goals. And that's what
I would
makes
challenge you on that.
Yeah, please do.
I would so challenge you. I would start with, I am satisfied.
Yeah, I probably need more of that.
I'm not going to be, you said I'm not going to be satisfied until.
Yeah.
Which means you just deprived yourself.
Which is fair.
Of being satisfied. And words are powerful.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're not content. I mean, maybe that is what you currently are, but it's not that you're not content, you're just not complacent. Where it's like, okay, well, I have accomplished a lot and I have put in the work, and I should take recognition for the fact that I have put in that work, but I'm also not complacent in the point of thinking that my work is done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can look at yourself today and say, wow, look at all these people that I employ and create purpose in their lives for them. Look at all these customers that I give them not just a place to come, it's a place to do their work. It's a happy place for them. I've created locations that are actually physically, pleasing.
Yeah.
You know, you're impacting in people's lives incredibly.
Yeah.
You know, every action we take, every moment is an opportunity to create and build or to tear down and destroy.
True.
What I know of you as a person, sorry, we don't know each other as well yet, is, that's you choose to build and create.
Yeah. And that's, I like to use myself as an example a lot. Jordan knows that because I think people have this perception.
We're back to the eye, aren't we, Jordan?
Yeah, it's fine.
It's
now.
okay.
Yeah. But it's true. I do like to use myself.
Enough about you. Let's talk about me again.
It's only because I like to put myself out there when it comes to real life, like situations in reality, because people think and look at my life and think I have it made. And I do, compared to a lot of people. I'm not discrediting that. But I also hold myself to a very high standard that most people will never understand. And in these moments, I like to be able to say, like, hey, I am struggling with this area of my life, because I want people to see that, dude, that's real. Like, like I told you before we started, is like, you're not alone in that. You're not alone in feeling the weight of carrying these things, of trying to provide for whatever your reasons is. If it's you're trying to be the big dog, or you're trying to do this, or you're trying to do that, like, I don't care. I just want you to know, like, hey, I struggle with these things too, and it's something I have to work at every single day. And I have an amazing wife that loves to be able to, like, come alongside me and be like, yo, dude, we should be content. And I don't want to say I'm not content. I don't want people to not hear that.
I don't expect you to be content. I expect you to be satisfied.
Yeah, and I'm satisfied in certain areas. I am. And there's other areas I'm not.
Are we making progress, Jordan?
I'm just being honest.
No, we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
love it. I love it.
There's certain areas that I 1,000,000% am satisfied in my life. The way I am fathering and showing up for my family and for my wife and in my business. I am very satisfied, content, happy, thrilled with all of those. There's other areas of my life I'm not, and it's something I need to work on, and that's what I'm saying is, like, I need to work on those things.
And that's totally right.
Yeah.
The fact that you want to be better is a wonderful quality. Again, we can use sports analogies again. That there are great basketball players who still want to go out and, I'm not happy shooting 95% from the line. I'm going to go take 100 free throws tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? Because I want to be at 96%.
Yeah.
Great. The fact that you have dreams and ambitions, don't confuse those with lack of gratitude for what you have.
Yeah.
Right? I think the dreams and the ambitions and the desires, those drive us. Those are amazing. We don't have to rely on just our hunger to drive us to go kill an animal in the wild so that we can eat, right? We can use other things now that drive us. And I think that's awesome. And it's one of the things I admire and respect about you.
Thank you. But you can lead us into your book.
Did you hear what you just said?
I said thank you. And
you said thank you. Remember that last conversation we had about taking a seat? We have made.
I said thank you. You guys just
terrorized.
Terrorized, I think is the word.
Terrorized, yeah.
Hey, how did I get in the hot seat? Why am I in the middle?
Wait, if I remember correctly, before we started, he said, I'm going to take the middle seat.
I did.
You did.
Didn't he?
It's the purpose when you sit there.
Shoot,
that's what you
man.
get. You get all the attention.
You get all the eyes on you. But you said thank you. You didn't roll your eyes.
No, I'm a work in progress.
Yeah.
But Marc, I've gotten to know you over the last 15-ish years, and you've been consistent in the same since literally day one. You have not, like, wavered in how you've treated me, like the staff, even before you knew who I was. Like, you've always just been one of those guys, and it's a massive compliment that
I'm getting ready to say thank you.
Yeah. But has been real. You've been real. You've always showed up without needing something, wanting something, because there's so much, relationships and stuff in the world where it's like, what can this guy do for me? You've just been awesome. And you said it, a little bit ago, but you were like, there's no reason why you and I should still be friends in the scheme of like looking on paper, right? And whether you've even realized this or not, have been a form of a mentor to me. Like I've had numerous conversations and chats and coffees with him, phone calls, messages, always trying to figure out how I can level up myself, right? And it's always, I saw Marc, I got to know him back in the day, and I was like, dude, I want to be able to do some of the things he's doing, so I'm gonna gravitate towards that. That's what I'm gonna do.
Sweet.
And he's tried to help me even when he probably shouldn't have, or even like obviously Hidden House wasn't ready for the times. But I'm saying all of that to say of like what you've been doing and accomplishing in your life, and I can attest in my own way that it has been real, and that it's just something to be proud of, because I feel like finding people that are genuinely real, like people, is so much more important than anything else. And I'm rambling to say all of that has led you to the last few years of writing your book, but it's been more than a few years. Like, kind of, let's dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that it's been 2 years of writing. It's been the hardest thing, one of the hardest things I've ever done, next, of course, to raising children, which we all know. But, of course, nothing compared to the ease of being a spouse, right? Yet it was a work in progress over like 20 years of not just life experiences, but of things I would write down. Like I would write down notes of just things that came to my mind, of ideas or concepts. And it started to be on paper, turned to be stuff that I put on my phone. Sometimes I type it into a Word document. We do things in life we don't necessarily know why. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I believe that there are even experiences or moments of your life when you think, oh, I know why all this happened. It's for this right now. And then you get through that period and you're like, no. That must be because of, for this thing that's going to happen, right? Then that happens that you think, no, this is it. This is why all of these experiences, this is why I went through those grueling years of whatever in business. And then you realize you relive it again. So, not really knowing why all of this, where it would all come to, and then reading, right? I read a lot. I used to read a lot more like leadership books and management books, life books too. And I would highlight them, or I'd dog ear them, or whatever. And I went one step further, which is I actually then took the paragraphs or sentences that I was highlighting and I put them into a Word document, because I knew I was never going to go back and read the book again, but I might want to reference something that I remembered, or I might not remember where I read something, and I'm going to use the search feature on my computer and say, okay, where was it I read this, or who said this? Mm-hmm. And I just did it today, even bringing up, something I wanted to remember. So why I was doing all that, I don't know, except I know that at this point, at least, it culminated in writing the 11 Primal Spaces. And it was a wake-up call to me based on several things that were happening in the world or in my life at the time, that got me to really, really worry that we were no longer standing upright as people. All of these wonderful things that have helped us evolve as human beings because of either brain development and physiology or sociology, right, in communities, et cetera, are all these amazing things that I call spaces that, frankly, we're abandoning. Right? We're abandoning them as leaders. We're abandoning them as communities, or what are communities at this point. And combine that with a wake-up call to myself to say, no, this is our conversation over the last 20 minutes, which is like, my voice matters, right? I am somebody to be able to say this. And I pulled this together as a huge project. I had a writing coach who was a New York Times bestselling author who helped me along the way, helped convince me that, no, this isn't just about standing upright. There's something more to this. And that's what became originally 10 Primal Spaces, and then 11, kind of like Moses in the Mel Brooks 10 Commandments. I bring you these 3 crash 2 tablets, right? You know, it's the inverse of that. It was 10 primal spaces, and I added an 11th toward the end of it. But that's what inspired me, and in and of itself, maybe the first time in my life where I had the sense of accomplishment of getting it done. It wasn't, oh, I'm writing this book so that I'm writing what I'm writing so I can turn it into a book, so I can sell copies and I can speak and I can get engaged for this and that. No, check the box. I wrote the book. And this is something that I don't know whether, 50 people are going to read it. 50 people already have, so okay, I'm going to do more people than that. But is it going to be more people who are going to read it during my lifetime or after my lifetime? I don't know. I think that it has that type of staying power and impact that it could have. Drop the mic, it's attached. I can't. I did it.
Yeah.
I did it, and that feels great. And now the fun of being able to talk about it and to be able to teach it and to be able to impart these concepts and impact people's lives, because my purpose, it hasn't changed in 15 years, maybe tweaked a little bit, is to create, inspire, and be a part of special moments for myself and others. And this is, to me, is just an incredible way. And it's fun and it's meaningful. So even when I talk to you about these middle spaces, this second grouping, that are the shared ones, and how the logic just worked out right for the order of it, that gets me stoked, right? And I hope and believe that if it has an impact on one person, great. If it has an impact on 5 million people, 10 million people, even better. I think I know. I've defined what I call my purpose, but the saying, man plans and God laughs.
Yeah.
Right? I don't really know what it is. I don't know how long it will be for. I know I've got today, and I know I've got this moment, and I know that I chose to spend it with you guys right now. That's all. That's what I know, right? My whole purpose could be that someday a grandchild of mine creates, invents, solves some major problem in the world, and some article, if there is such a thing as an article, whatever it is written about this grandchild who says, my grandfather was a huge influence on my life. Period.
Yeah.
That could be it. The minute we recognize that we as individuals are placed on this earth to be ourselves and to be who we are, with the talents and the skills and the abilities that we have, not what somebody else has, for me to have gotten to that place of realizing that, was huge.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot more of, Ben Briggs 1.0 and Marc Kirshbaum 1.0, than there is today.
For sure. I know I keep bringing up just like our relationship, because I think when you're doing something of such value, it would be really easy for somebody that doesn't know you to be like, oh, this guy is just like another privileged dude that, has all these things, doesn't understand, because that's just how people are, right? But I've gotten to see you and know you before you even probably had the idea even doing this.
Oh, clearly. I mean, there's no way. I mean, if I've known you 15 years, this is 2 years old. But what you said is you've heard consistency
the whole time. And again, like for whatever the reason was that you chose to invest into me even back then, is something like, to me, is a big deal, But it goes back to essentially what you're saying is like the spaces that you're referencing. For me, we met in a space that I got to help create. And then from there, the relationship developed, and it followed us from janky little San Juan all the way to, we've had numerous meetings and hangouts and talks here in Santa Ana, to your office here in Santa Ana when you had it. And then he left, he moved to LA. He would still check in on me. And he was so intentional with that even Brock got to know who he was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he'd be like, who's this guy that just comes in and like hangs out and like is just talking to us? And I told Brock one day who you were, and he's like, oh, that's like so cool. Like, and that speaks like volumes, right? Yeah. And so I'm saying that because I think again, it would be so easy for somebody that doesn't know you to be like, just another person writing another book, you know, but I've lived it through you.
Thanks. Yeah. And I think that, you know, there are a lot of times, I saw this once before, when someone went to their mentor with a written letter asking for advice, and they wrote, should I do this or this? And I don't know if you've ever seen in grammatical editing, you draw this like loop thing, and that means reverse the words, right? And so in that case, all the mentor wrote back to him with was to have taken that little thing and flipped should I to I should, right? And it's something that hit me too, which is in my own mind, until I had the strength and conviction to write this book and go out there with it, I was more likely to say, who am I? And I use that same little flip thing to just say, I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
Right? And there's this, it was made popular is not the right word, but more well-known after the end of apartheid in South Africa with Bishop Tutu and Nelson Mandela and this philosophy of Ubuntu. Have you heard of this before?
It's sparking. I don't remember the context that I heard it in, but yeah, it sounds really familiar.
Yeah, it's this concept of basically I am because we are.
That's right.
Right? And it's just, it's the importance of community. I'm now off on a tangent from what you were saying, but realizing that we're part of something bigger than ourselves, that doesn't mean we lose who we are, because that whole community is not the same without you in it.
Yeah.
It's different. If you write a book, 1,500 pages, and you decide to leave that one sentence out, let's equate that one sentence to your life, the book might be no different, or the book might be totally unable to understand. It's definitely most likely different because of that one sentence not being in there. And that one sentence is each of our lives. Right? And so when I finally got enough belief, this is just the raw, honest truth, enough belief in myself rather than who am I to say I am, and then to be proud of what I wrote. It took a year and a half, the first year and a half of writing this, like an artist who paints something and people come and they say, oh, that's amazing, I'd love to hang it on my wall. And the artist says, I'm throwing it in the trash can, right? Because this thing sucks. That's where I was with this book for the first year and a half, till it got to a certain point where I was like, no, I'd hang this on my wall.
Yeah. I love that because, again, I think I already said it, and Jordan and I have said it in so many podcasts, but it's hard to sometimes, unless you're just an arrogant person, it's really hard to say, like, or to believe, like, who am I? We were just texting yesterday or 2 days ago.
I mean, we just talked about it over there, like
true,
like an hour and a half
But I
ago.
like sent Jordan some like of the coaching stuff I've been working on, and I was like, like, why am I doing this? Not why am I doing this, but I told Jordan it was something I struggled with for so long because I was like, who am I to offer these people these things? And it's really hard, like, to look past that and to say I am, and that's something I am trying to work on. You know,
That and saying thank you when people give you compliments.
It's hard because I don't know. I feel like if you're going to offer somebody something of value, you should really care. At least I do.
But not in a utilitarian way.
Well, I'm probably more that way.
Not in a, that's part of the societal problem, which is this, that things are transactional,
Yeah.
right? And it's not doing just for the sake of doing. It's what am I going to get in return for this?
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to post on social media because I want to see how many people react a certain way, right? I'm not doing it just because I put my words out there. And that fine balance between, the I, and yet, the I is important, but how do you balance that with being part of something bigger? And I encourage not giving up that individual I piece of it, but realize how do we then bring it together with others, right? Leadership, like parenting. How effective is it, guys, if you turn to your kids and when they say, but why? You say, because I said so.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything.
Doesn't
except
My
make
kids,
me
it doesn't work.
Yeah,
No.
it just makes me feel
Doesn't
bad.
really work, right? Because I said, the only time my wife was great at this, she's like, look, if I say that to you, it's because I'm doing something to save your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're about to run across the street, God forbid, to chase the ball in the middle of traffic,
Yeah.
and I grab you and I say, don't, I'll explain it to you later, but right now, it's
Yeah.
just don't, right? Yeah. So there's that small category. But, the because I said so, that's crossing the line. Yet at the same time, offering up your opinion or expertise in any situation is critical. Because I'll tell you what an employee who won't be working for him any longer would say, which is, oh, I knew that was going to happen. What did you do about it? What did you say? Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, you're part of this team. You in the right environment and with a level of respect, you don't just have a right, you have a duty and an obligation to speak up.
Yeah.
Right? We were talking about this in an employee situation.
Yeah.
If you know something's not right and you're in a position of authority, you have a duty or obligation, almost like a whistleblower.
Yeah.
Right? And I actually told that to people in large corporations that worked for me. It's like, look, if you think that I'm about to make a decision that is either illegal, right, or unethical, and maybe one or two other things, you don't just have a right, but you have a duty to go over my head. You either go to the general counsel of the corporation or you go to my boss or to the board of directors and raise it.
Yeah.
Not do it because I said so.
Yeah.
But where do you find that fine line between? I think that's a lifelong
I was gonna say that's another rhetorical
leaving.
style question. That it's like, how do you?
But if I asked you, Ben, to finish this sentence, I am.
I would say,
I'll ask both of you.
yeah, I would give you my answer, but
Go for it.
I was just gonna say Ben.
Yeah,
I am Ben,
that's great.
because you catch what you get with me.
That is very true.
I'd have to think about that. I can't give you that answer for real. I don't have an I mean, I feel like I am a lot of things.
Right, because you are a lot of things.
Yeah.
None of us are just one thing.
No.
In Jewish religion, we have different names for God that's based on attributes, right? There are 13 attributes, right? Merciful, compassionate, et cetera, et cetera. And we're the same thing. We are a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
If I answer the question, and this is what throws people off, and they're like, well, tell me about you. I'm like, okay, firstly, I'm a father and a husband.
Yeah.
And I just gave two things.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, whoa. What do you this happens a lot of times especially with guys like, so what do you do for a living?
Yeah. All the time.
Is that what defines me?
Yeah.
Really? What I do for a living? By the way, there's the word do,
Yeah.
not be, right? Instead, just be grammatically wrong and say, who you be,
Yeah.
right? But I started by, even when people say, so what do you do for a living? They didn't ask me how I make money. They asked, what do you do for a living, right? What I do for a living? I'm a father and a husband.
Yeah.
What? What's your answer?
I don't know.
Hot seats on you, buddy.
No, I know. Well, I want to answer honestly, but I also now because I had a second to think, right?
Yeah, it's
And
not
then
fair.
I know that's what I'm saying. This is not
No,
fair.
answer honestly.
I wanted to answer honestly, but I'm going to lie instead.
No, I have been spending a lot of time in my Bible lately. So when you said I am, the first thing I think of is loved, and that was the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, I am. I was like, loved. What?
That's
But
awesome.
then I was like, well, that's not really answering the question, but in a way that it is answering the
Totally
question.
is.
Yeah. You are loved, Jordan.
But see, I knew it. This guy.
I am your loved.
But that's an area. All of that we just discussed is an area that I have struggled with, and I continue to struggle with. Of self-identifying with what I do. Like if you ask me, then I'll spit out normally like the rhetorical answer. So, okay, let's go back because this will actually be good for our guests. So if you ask me that, I know the answers I'm supposed to give and the ones that make me sound good, right? Like loved was legitimate an answer, the first thing that popped in my head. But if you're like, what are you? I'm like, well, I help people grow through podcasts. I speak my mind about the values and the things that I believe in.
You give them cool clothes to wear if they want to.
Yeah.
How's that for a plug?
I'm a good husband and father. Like those are the things that I would say that I am. But then if you like behind closed doors, if I was by myself, if someone's like, who are you? And I've told this, I think maybe to you not too long ago, for the last several years, I like realized I was like, or I told my wife recently, I was like, I'm turning 34. I turned 34. I was like, I'm turning 34 this year, and I finally think that I'm figuring out who I am as a person. And then that goes from day to day. Like some days I'm like, yes, I know who I am. And then other days I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Who am I? Like, and there's this back and forth of, there's days where I'm like, yes, I know who I am and I'm confident in who I am. And there's days where I'm like, I've gotten it all wrong.
And sometimes we're just throwing off our game.
Yeah, like we're having these conversations, and I was talking to someone the other day about, like, yeah, we've talked about work-life balance, and then I thought about it for a second, like Hollow, he's like, dude, do you ever shut off your phone? And I go, no. And he goes, why not? And I go, because it would freak me out. And he goes, bro, what are you doing? Like, you're constantly able to, your employer right now is constantly able to get a hold of you. And I was like, yeah. And then that threw me into a whole spiral of what's that all about? Am I putting my identity in like how hard I work? And I was like, oh, maybe. So all that to say, I'm having an existential crisis at the moment because you asked me that one question. If someone says, I'm like, to be honest, I'm not quite sure at the moment. Loved. And that's probably about the best answer I could give at that moment.
So I thought at first you said, I am love.
Yeah.
And now I hear loved.
Loved.
Yeah.
And I
ED.
Loved.
Interesting. I thought you said love, and I was reacting like super positively to that because when you say I am loved, that sounds almost like what you are to others, as opposed to
what I receive.
What you are. That's what you receive,
right?
As opposed to what you give and who you are. And I think it's a mistake too if we think that we have to answer that question with one word. That's what was cool is what you were saying, Ben. I love having this conversation because I hadn't thought of it this way either, the way I was tying into these different attributes, right? And that's part of our problem in society today is this concept like, oh, are you pro-life or are you pro-abortion? Are you pro-guns or are you anti-guns? And then all we use is that one thing to put someone in a box.
Yeah.
Right?
Literally.
As opposed to thinking like, oh, I'm a father, I'm a husband, or I'm a business owner, I'm an American, I'm proud American, I'm this, I'm that, right? I'm a volunteer at a homeless shelter, whatever, all these different things that you do or that make you who you are. If you turn those doings into like what you are, like the fact that you volunteer at home, okay, oh, so you're a compassionate individual. But instead, we're focused on trying to define people by one thing, and it's usually just one view. Oh, you're a capitalist. I'm a socialist, so I can't talk to you.
Yeah.
Right. You're pro-choice. I'm anti-abortion. I can't.
Right.
Forget the 50 other things we have in common. Oh, by the way, we might even be relatives.
Yeah.
Right. We don't allow ourselves to come to that space.
Yeah.
And I'd love having this conversation with you guys just around this whole idea of I am, right?
Well, Ben is a verb. Like I am Ben.
I am Ben.
Ben is a verb and adjective.
Only because we know him.
Yeah. People are like, oh, he actually gave one word. I'm like, no, there's about 50
well, he was being
words
honest.
in there.
He was actually being honest.
I was.
I wasn't going to push him on that one.
No, but that's also one of your
it's like
greatest
Disneyland
qualities.
ride. It's got to be just like experience.
Yeah. But that's one of your greatest qualities. I joke about it all the time, but I'm actually dead serious. You're going to get Ben. It doesn't matter if you're the janitor or the president of the United States. It's Ben.
Thank God.
Right.
Yeah.
It's taking up.
You mean a guy who will talk to a garage installer for 5 hours?
Yes. Yeah.
Even if he's taking his like earnings away from him because he can't get any work done. But Ben wants to talk to him. Yeah.
Mr. 1000 Conversations
So
is what
my
our
nickname
gym owner-
at the gym is Mr. 1000 Conversations, and he jokes about it, but he also loves it, and
It's also a turn of endearment.
Not man of 1,000 conversations.
No.
That would be a
No.
little more like Buddhist.
I
maybe.
know.
Man
No,
of 1,000
the way he
conversations.
did it today, he on his story, he caught me in the 1 second. So I ran it. I just got done doing this crazy hard wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
I'm like dying, and I'm going back up, and this girl's mom that I've known since first grade, and she has this very vivid image of me being like a 4'9", like 45-pound 8th grader carrying her massive suitcase up a flight of stairs in Washington, D.C. because I didn't think she should have to do it on her own. And so it's just like one vivid memory she has of me. And so to see me now, like, she's just like, oh, you're like a man, like, but she's talking to me saying, hi, like, how are you? I didn't recognize you.
Where's this going, Jordan? Do you know?
I don't
No,
know.
I
He
was
just- he,
Mr.
like,
1000 Conversations.
I'm a man.
No, Mr. 1000.
I'm a man now. You know what? I appreciate
That
the
TRT, huh?
the 9-year-old Ben, and I appreciate the 34-year-old
But
Ben.
he calls
He
me
caught
Mr.
you in the one-
He
that
caught me in
one
the one
moment.
moment. And he takes his phone out,
Oh,
does
that's
a
where
little
we're going.
video
Yeah.
of me, and he hands over to the other guy where he's like, Brian's over here working out, and then Mr. 1000 Conversations over here. And I'm like, bro, like, I didn't mean to. She
But
stopped
that's
me.
Ben being Ben.
Yeah.
The verb.
Yeah, own it. Are you okay owning it?
Oh, I own it all
Oh,
the
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no problems with it because I'm who I am, and for good and for bad. But I really like this conversation centered around like the I am, because it's really, to me, it's like tying back into everything that we've talked about today. Of we have a false identity of who we need to be, and I'm in that. I'm a part of that also, and
We're all a work in progress.
100%. But you. Especially with the Instagram, going back to social media, right? Or to what people perceive us what people perceive us as by what we do, not who I actually am, right? Like I'm Ben, the busy coffee guy with tons of coffee shops and lots of customers standing in line. Well, no, dude, I'm a lot more than that. You didn't see me at 2 a.m. freaking out because we have payroll and we had a really bad week. I don't know how I'm going to make payroll. You didn't see that. You saw the smile that I put on because it's nobody else's problem to worry about this stuff except for mine, because I chose to do this. Like that's what you see. That's not what I am. I am a guy that's trying to freaking figure it out just like everybody else. I just happen to be put in a spotlight a little bit more than maybe the next person. But I am figuring out my life every single freaking day.
And makes you no different from anyone else.
Exactly. And but people,
And maybe not even figuring it out, but we're my wife has said this so beautifully. She's like, I'm just slogging through life, right? Maybe slogging wasn't her word, but it was something like that, right?
yeah.
That's all we're all trying to do.
Yeah. But going back to the identities of what we are and who we are because
Yeah.
of what we do and what we can offer is the crap that can destroy us at the same time. And the I am conversation, like I'd encourage, if you're listening right now, like think about that. Because I know I turned mine into a joke, but because I didn't know how to answer it. Like I am me, I'm Ben. Like I there's a lot in there. Like I'm going to actually spend time on that and try to figure out like what would I define myself as?
But yeah, that threw me into a mental crisis that I'm really hyper
I'm
fixated
so
on
excited
for the
about
next.
that.
No, but
No, it's a good thing though. But that's
And
part of
again,
growth.
in case anyone missed this, do not limit yourself to one word.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we are not one thing.
No.
The minute you are a son and a father, you're already two things.
Yeah. Yeah.
A son and a brother, whatever it is, you're two things.
Yeah. It's
And by the way, we show up differently in those different situations. The Ben who shows up at work has some of the same qualities, but it's not the same Ben who shows up at home.
Yeah.
The way you talk to your children and to your wife is different than the way you talk to your employees, right?
yeah.
We had a great guest on. His name is Tim. He once said that part of being a man is meeting a moment with what the moment needs most. And he's like, if that means that someone's attacking your family, then you need to act aggressively. If that means that your daughter skimmed her knee, that you need to be tender and in that moment with her. If that means your mother's dying, that you need to be holding your hand, being able to cry over that. If that means leading men, it means being able to be just meeting each moment with what that moment needs most.
By the way, Jordan, some of those moments mean put down your phone.
It does, yeah. And for me, that's one thing that I'm struggling with.
Yeah.
He is.
I know. I did that and I'm going to put this on the podcast so that he knows that I actually am sorry about it. He bought me lunch the other day.
Yesterday.
And that's also the other day.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Specifics.
And I received
Sometimes
a
you don't
phone
have to
call
correct
as soon as we sat down, and I took that phone call and was on the phone and then hung up, and he's like, dude, I just bought you lunch. You couldn't even sit down and chat with me. And I played it off as a joke because I was like, I text you about as much as I text my wife, which I do. But I was like, I should have put my phone down and had lunch with you.
Well, and then kind of, it goes both ways too,
Yeah.
because Ben had expectations.
Of course.
He
I
didn't
wanted to
just-
hang out with my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
Thank you for my
definition
birthday
of
lunch.
the definition of disappointment sometimes is the fact that we have expectations.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I
So
have
you
a
were
lot of them.
disappointed in the moment.
Yeah, I was.
And you made sure that he knew you were disappointed.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I
So
am
that,
Ben.
because you are Ben.
He made sure everybody else knew that he was just nothing.
I did. I really did.
It's fair though.
Man of
It's fair.
10,000 conversations,
Yeah.
buys
And guilt
buys
trips.
lunch.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I think I would love to sum up all of this, and I would love to have you actually summarize your book after I say this. But it's really important for Jordan and I for this platform and this podcast that we've got to be a part of and help create and build. Is it doesn't matter like what you do. What matters is like what we're just like. In my opinion, what matters is what we're striving to be as like people. Like, I don't care about your job. Like Jordan, like he said, he jokes about it. Like, I'll treat the janitor and the president the same. I really don't really care who you are. I don't. I just, in the sense of like what you do. Like, I could care less what you're going
Your
to.
title is.
Yeah, I don't care. Like, if you're an a-hole, I care about that. If you're a really nice guy and you're genuine like you after all these years, I care about that, But outside of that, like, I want people to understand, and we want people to understand, like, men have so much things to figure out on a daily basis. You carry so much weight that you always feel as if you have to put this front on because we've been conditioned to think that a man is this and a man is that. A man is tough. We don't ask for help. We're not vulnerable. We don't show emotion. I got this. Get out of my way. It's actually the opposite, because I believed that for so long. I thought I had to be the guy, right? I had to be, fearless. I had to be all these things. And I do think there are moments for those things. But I also am a human that needs help and needs to constantly pour into developing myself and sharpening these tools and to have accountability and to be vulnerable, because real strength comes through that and from that. And so I'm saying all that to say is, like, guys, you're not alone. We say it all the time. We kind of hit it all the time, but so many of us out there think, oh man, they're not, I can't show the real me because I'm going to be
Not
less
all
than.
of me, at least.
Yeah. I'm going to give you the front. Like, no, like, you gotta, if you want to make like a real change and impact in your own life, that way you can create and impact your own sphere of influence, like, you got to actually do some like digging inside. And that means getting help and talking about it and having these style conversations when it might make you uncomfortable. Like, believe it or not, I actually don't like being the center of attention. Well, other people might disagree with that. I actually hate it. And so to like have you guys talking like at me in the center, I'm just like, but please keep going.
No. Thank
Jordan
you.
knows that. Like, it's because I play it off, right? Like, I'm speaking at our men's breakfast in May. I don't want, that is not comfortable to me. I can do it, and sometimes I'm good at it, but I don't necessarily enjoy getting on a stage and speaking to people. Like, it's not comfortable.
We'll save that
me.
for a separate conversation. We'll have a coffee over that
Yeah,
one.
but you know what I mean? Like, it's not something I'm like, I make it seem very easy, but it's not easy for me. Like, that's not a.
Neither is benching 350 pounds, but you do it.
I wish. But you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's like, I'm sharing these things because I want people to see that it's okay to not have it all figured out is what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say.
And it's okay to scrape your knees. It's, you know, it's okay to miss some shots.
Yeah.
You know, that Wayne Gretzky quote, right?
It's one of my favorites.
You miss 100% of the shots you never take.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we don't push ourselves and challenge ourselves, then we don't grow.
Yeah.
And then we're allowing fear to overtake what we could be. And I was in a frame of mind, guys, until I wrote this book, of fear of dying and not having done everything I could have done on this earth. I was living in fear. I've never vocalized this before, but I was really, really fearful. Like, who am I? What have I done? What really? God gave me talents and skills and time, and that's all I did with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good headspace to be in.
I can
Right?
imagine.
It wasn't a good headspace. And it was a particular moment 2 years, little over 2 years ago. I'm in a military cemetery and I'm looking at fresh graves and I'm watching soldiers dig 2 graves next to me, and the names had been released that morning, and you know who's going to be buried in those graves later that day. And I'm looking at these graves and seeing young people whose lives have been tragically cut short, and the pain that their loved ones are going through. And I looked at it and said, they all lived with purpose. They all lived a full life, but maybe not a long life. And I looked at myself as I came home and I said, am I doing the same? And that's when I started to write.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
That was powerful. I like that. I kind of want to end it right there. Like that's like one of those moments where there's a lot of wisdom in that. A lot of wisdom in that.
Yeah, you got to sit in that and the I am, like, challenge yourself to really do that. And honestly, Jordan, we should do a recording of what we come up with, because it holds us accountable.
Like an outtake?
Yeah, because it shows the follow through. You know, like I'm not gonna just say I want to do that. I want to do that because I maybe the list will be 100 items. Maybe it will be 5. I don't know.
I think what you might realize, I do this in business too, which is it's the brainstorming session.
Yeah.
Right. And it could start with 100. And then you realize, well, all of these 5 are really summarized as this one word.
Yeah.
Right. Out of the 5. Or there's a 6th one that describes the 5 better. Same way you come up with goals and things in a business, right? You narrow it down.
Yeah.
And yet, and like writing, don't get so hung up on getting it perfectly grammatically right in your sentence structure the first time. Instead, focus on just get it on paper.
Yeah.
Just have the brainstorming session first, because if you try to get to perfection of words, you're going to skip that brainstorming. Just brainstorm it first.
Yeah.
Yeah. And ask other people.
Yeah, that's true.
Ask other people. This was awesome. Thank you.
No, thank you. We say it all the time, but we love this setting, because I thought the conversation would have gone a little differently today, to be honest.
I'm sure we'll do another
It was
one.
going to be. It was going to be like, Mark, who are you?
Yeah.
And look what it turned out to be.
Yeah.
It ended up being the answer to that.
Yeah.
But not the way any of us thought it was going to be.
Yeah. And that's what makes
20 years ago, I got my law degree.
We said, who are you? And you said, well, I am. And then we went with that. So technically, you answered it perfectly.
Yeah. For people that only listen, if someone wanted to like get a hold of you or
Pre-order your book.
Yeah, the book. It's Jordan always says it's your what do you say?
Shameless plug time.
Shameless plug time.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So the book is launching. The publication date is August 4th, 2026. It will be available within the next few weeks at the beginning of May to pre-order from Amazon, bn.com, all of those normal sites. But going to my website at markkirshbaum.com, you'll be able to place the link to the pre-order. And at that point, in a couple of weeks, you'll be able to find it directly on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And then if you order it straight through my website and my publisher, you just might be able to get it early. Cool. So it's markkirshbaum.com, markkirshbaum.com, or find me through any other social media method.
I have heard that pre-order does more for an author than actually ordering the book afterwards. Do you know if that is true?
It can. Yeah.
On Amazon,
It
right?
all depends. It's the Amazon algorithms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And,
All right.
and I was like, it's not even out there yet.
Yeah.
But I know how to find it
Yeah.
on Amazon already. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
And I got a text from someone this morning saying, I found it. I've already pre-ordered your book.
That's cool.
Like, it's not even out there yet.
Yeah.
Huh.
Right? So,
Because
yeah,
that
it
is
does make a
that is
difference.
good though.
I
I
might-
think, right, for the
I
pre-ordering.
might
Yeah.
be a little sneaky and see if I can find it and throw it in the
You can
show
find it.
notes.
You can find it.
You can find it.
Yeah, and people can reach out to me too via the website, not just about the book, right? But in terms of public speaking engagements or advisement work, working with leadership teams,
Okay.
all of that information is available, and how to contact me
Beautiful.
via the website. So thank
All right.
you.
Well, I'll link everything down below as always.
Yeah.
But-
I appreciate you.
Likewise, I value the
you.
friendship, and now that it's over, I can't wait to have a cold brew in about 2 minutes.
Right?
Yeah. I thought you were saying the friendship's over. I was like, well, that's
I was
fair.
like, dang, bro.
And I've gotten what I need out of you.
Yeah,
so-
I would not blame you.
Remember, that was the whole conversation. It's all transactional.
Just getting what you
It's all,
need.
grab the hand and move.
Mark, thank you again.
Yeah, thank
Pleasure
you.
getting to know you. Ben, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
As always, guys, check the show notes for everything down below and be a good dude.